you've been in the playoffs, obviously, a lot veteran teams. Does this feel any different with all these young guys?
I mean, the whole year's kind of felt a little different because every time we go through something, it's kind of for the first time. So, it hasn't held us back, but I don't think when you're a veteran player and you go through a tough time, okay, you have something to fall back on. These guys have kind of been doing it as they're learning. Now, they've done a pretty good job of it. We just told them not just play the game the way you know how to play baseball. That's, this is why they work so hard, is to get to this where they can enjoy, and embrace the competition. I don't see them backing down. There's no crystal ball. Tampa's going to probably do the same thing, but see how we do.
Spring training, every year you still say, like, the first day you get butterflies or you have those jitters. Maybe this is a better question for tomorrow, but do you still have some of those feelings now on the?
Oh, I'll be scared to death tomorrow. I mean, I was nervous yesterday in the 9th inning. It just, that'll never change. I don't know. I can remember back all the way back at 16, before the first game of the World Series. I went out to the dugout like an hour early because I had anxiety, and Knapp was out there. I'm like, "What are you doing out here?" Because I'm scared to death. Me too. But I mean, it as long as it doesn't get in the way, that's okay. You want to use it to your advantage. If you're a player, use the adrenaline to your advantage. It just, that's, you don't want to back away now. You don't want to shy away now.
Why do you think you still have that feeling? Is it just how much you love competing? And
we work really hard to try to see how good we can be. Now you really, you have a chance where, I don't know how, I should know this. I don't know how many teams are still left. I should know this, but there's not a ton. It's an honor. So you want to enjoy. I don't think you need to wait till the end to see if you win to think like, well, did I enjoy this? I do enjoy what we're doing. There's a lot of ups and downs during the course of a year, but I enjoy who I do it with. And, again, it doesn't mean there's not difficult times or difficult conversations, but we're pretty fortunate here. We got a good group, and we know that.
So as you know, I played for you 25 years ago. All right. So
thanks for that.
So just remind you, could you give me a sense of like Terry Francona, the manager in 1998 and 2022? I mean, how are you different?
I had a lot more energy then. I could throw batting practice. You know what, Dougie? I mean, I knew I was learning on the run then, and I knew it. But I also knew how I felt about the players. And then when you get with teams that maybe have a little bit deeper roster, but you still know how you feel about the players, that's when it has a chance to get pretty special. I mean, looking back, those 4 years were I learned so much, but I really felt like I needed to, you remember that nucleus. It was you and Bronya and Roland and Lieberthal, young guys that were still finding their way in the league. And I felt like it was my responsibility to kind of protect you guys a little bit and help you learn how to get there, even if that meant taking some bullets myself. I still feel that way. I'd rather somebody from the media think that I don't know what I'm doing rather than throw a player under the bus. I just think it works better that way.
Jerry, I'm sure you're preoccupied with trying to outwit the other manager, but what kind of challenges can Shane McClanahan pose?
Well, I think he's thrown 161 innings and 112 hits. That's a pretty good one right there. They just, they go about it a little differently than most teams, and they're used to doing it that way. So, you're going to have some balance in your lineup because they're going to come at you with not just left, right, but different ways of left, right. So the more balance you can have, sometimes you set up your lineup knowing that, okay, we have to beat this starter, knowing that you're probably not setting it up for the bullpen. I think you need to keep that in mind, that bullpen's out there and how they're configured when you do your lineup.
And as far as McClanahan, you guys did okay against him in July.
Yeah. I mean, we beat him. It was not like we knocked him around the ballpark. That was 3 months ago. Can barely remember last week.
I know you made a comment about barely remember last week. Today is the 10-year anniversary of your hire here.
Really?
Yeah, 10 years ago today.
Well, I did not know that.
You've obviously had a lot of postseason success here. As fans get excited for this time of year, what would you like to share about what you most enjoy about postseason baseball?
I think it would be surprising to people just how much we do enjoy it. I mean, I spoke about being nervous and a little bit scared, but you work so hard to get here that I do enjoy it. Like once we had our meeting that's why I wanted to have the meeting last night. We met, yesterday was a long day. We stayed here till it was a long day. But once we have that meeting, personally, I'm able to relax. Doesn't, like I said, there's no guarantees that we're going to win, but I know how I feel. We knew what our roster is going to be. We knew conversations we need to have. And it just makes it more like, okay, let's go play baseball. And I like that part of it. That's fun.
Even beyond the baseball part, you spent a substantial part of your life in Cleveland. What does Cleveland mean to you?
I don't think I've hidden the fact of how special I think this place is. Wish you guys could figure out your weather a little bit better, but I think, I grew up in the same, I grew up an hour and a half from here, and it's the same mentality, the Midwest values. I like the fact that I can get on that little black scooter when the game's over, and win or lose, the policeman high five me, or, that's, you can't do that in a lot of places.
Talked a lot about your relationship with Cash, but when you were laid up and all these, did you rely on him more, like call him a lot, or I just wonder how did your relationship evolve kind of then?
No, I think we've actually always had a really good relationship. And when you're in the middle of the season, you don't always just pick up the phone, and out of respect to him too, like, but he doesn't have to. Like, I know that, like, I'd probably get more calls from him when something happens that's funny or something stupid, but he doesn't have to call me. I know he cares about me, and he knows I care about him.
Stupid thing you could share?
We were reminiscing a little bit the other night. We were talking because he had mentioned that my first year here, remember Santana was catching, and Santana had backpicked in a situation that I didn't think was very good time to do it. And I kind of had my arm around him. I said, "Now, Carlos, this is why we don't do this, and let's move forward." He looked at me and he goes, "Do you remember when I did that in Boston?" And I said, "No." He goes, "You put your arm around me." He said, "Dumbass, if you ever do that again."
We talked to you a lot about this year in terms of this young team and how that's kind of energized you in a way. How much is the style you guys play, the throwback, the game that you grew up playing, how much has that energized you?
A lot. The fact that these guys bought in so much, and then Valleca really, really did a good, man, you talk about every day having to show up, because we don't have the ability to kind of, usually hit a 3-run homer and maybe play a sloppy game and win, but to see all the work that everybody puts in, and how, like, listening to him last night, his preparation just for that meeting makes you feel good. But I love the way, I would think our team is an easy team to like. They're good kids. I know we got a couple that aren't kids, but they're good people and they treat the game with so much respect. I hope people want to show up and help them out because they deserve it.
As you just alluded to, either one of these teams is like oriented around power, and the postseason, particularly in recent years, has been very much oriented around power. Is there kind of an opportunity for both of these clubs to show kind of a different way to advance?
Well, I mean, one of us is gonna. I'm not that smart, but I bet you one of us moves on. But I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead. Again, I wish we did hit some more homers, but we have what we have. And so rather than make excuses, we're trying to find a way to win. That's just deal with what you have.
You meant your style is going to cause trouble for many teams. You mentioned the Rays and how you got to be balanced against them. What else makes them tough to play?
Well, they're very athletic also. I mean, they got a ton of stolen bases and they're not afraid to run. So our pitchers are going to need to pay attention to that, because if they start having a track meet, kind of like we do, it can create some issues. So the ball needs to end up where it's supposed to. And our pitchers are going to have to be cognizant that they do want to run. Now, the best way to stop that is by keeping them off base. But that's probably not going to happen every single time.